All right, we all know we weren't thrilled with what happened Sunday afternoon against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Lions' second straight revenge game, and not the good kind. It was people trying to get revenge on us. We are now 1-1, and I think the game left a lot of people wondering what is going on. But there is a silver lining. There is encouraging news to report on this. And so what I want to do is I first want to go to a couple of Aidan Hutchinson quotes, hit a quote from Aidan Hutchinson, how he talked about it. Then we're going to take a little walk back into history and just kind of go back and see what this looks like and why I'm even more encouraged after this loss than I was before. Because I have to admit, after I watched the game, during the game, I was not thrilled. I wasn't. I was not happy with the way Jared Goff was playing. I was not happy with the lack of creativity or seeming understanding of what the offense was doing. I felt like the offense didn't get what the defense was trying to stop them from doing. But with all that being said, we've been in these situations before. I think this coaching staff has proven they'll get us out of it. And Aidan Hutchinson feels the exact same way. So let's go ahead and see what he said. After the loss, he drew a parallel to last season. Here's what he said. He said, just talking to some guys, that means the team, all right, teammates, all right, he said, I think this is going to be really good for us. We had an early loss last year too. All right, I remember it. All right, it was Seattle. He said, I remember we lost to Seattle and everybody thought we sucked again. All right, we're going to keep talking about this in a second, but that is true. They lost to the Seahawks. I'll pull up the schedule from last year. Right here you can see is where they lost to the Seahawks. And they lost 37-31. And it was very similar to the loss to the Seahawks from the year before, where, yeah, our offense looked good, but our defense couldn't stop a cold, right? Like, it was really, really nasty in the way we saw it. And it was a home loss. So there's a couple of parallels, right? Like, you have a team that you want to beat, a team that people view as a kind of fringe playoff team going into the season. You know, people were like, yeah, I think Seattle's going to be good. They made the playoffs the year before. I think they'll probably be okay, similar as they were. Same with the Bucs this year, both at home. So it kind of made sense. It's a very similar parallel. And I get what Aidan Hutchinson is saying. And I remember how I felt after that game. We're coming off the high of beating the Kansas City Chiefs. We go on the road, and then we come lose to the Seahawks. I'm like, maybe we're not that good. Like, maybe the defense got lucky. And I started thinking to myself last year, well, Brian Branch wouldn't have had that interception if it didn't just go right off the receiver's hand. All right, thank you, Kadarius Toney. You were the best DB in that game. I still will say that a year later. And I was like, maybe we're not as good as we thought, and because the defense struggled. Well, in this game, it's, well, maybe the offense isn't as good as we thought. Goff struggled again, and maybe we got lucky in the first game. And it's like, no, hold on. All right? Hutchinson went on to say, so I think we're going to keep this one in perspective. And if we're going to be struggling a little bit as a team, I'd rather we struggle early than late. The plan is to catch fire as we get through the season, and then we go from there. And they absolutely have time to get right. They have time to get right. They have time to catch fire. And there are a lot of encouraging things from the game. But first, I just want to go to what this looks like in our schedule and talk about how we have time to get kind of on the right track. So we go to Arizona. All right, we go to Arizona, and Arizona looks like world beaters, right? So after losing to Tampa Bay, after Arizona just destroyed their opponent, all right, this past weekend, now all of a sudden we can look, and by the way, it was the Rams, all right, and there's no problems for being like, all right, we need to be on our A game. We need to be as good as we can. And then we're right back against Seattle, that team that has just been a bugaboo for us, totally new coaching staff. All right, and we got them on Monday night, and we know we play well on Monday night. So we have the opportunity to start turning it around, and then we have a bye week. Anything that's still rusty, anything that's still struggling, we have time to go pull back the drawing board and look at it and say, all right, maybe we need to change this. Maybe we need to change that. It is shocking. I mean, it's very clear what the defense is doing. They're going back and they're making us throw everything underneath. So we're wanting to throw it deeper, but they're just saying, we'll give you the underneath stuff, which is exactly what we did with the Rams. But I have another exciting thing about this. And no, it's not just Aidan Hutchinson's 4.5 sacks, which were unbelievable, but it is truly what the defense did in general. If you were simply to look at the box score, all right, as a team, 12 of 19 for the Bucs. Baker Mayfield for 146 yards. Yes, he had 185, but then you subtract that 39 because that's the way it works. 146 yards passing to our 324 yards passing. Did Goff look sharp? Nope. All right, he did not. But still, when you look at the passing yards, we dominated. Running the ball, 23 attempts for 70. We had 4 more attempts and almost doubled them up. All right, the only difference between us and them were 2 things. A lack of ability to score in the red zone, and we had 1 more turnover. That was it. We were, in many ways, this was a complete opposite of what happened with the Rams, where I feel like the Rams were going up and down the field, but they couldn't finish. In this game, we couldn't finish. All right, couple of bad calls against us early on, put us in a 6-0 hole. Then a bad call. That was by the refs. Then Dan Campbell admittedly said he had a bad call. All right. And so there you go from that one. And I just realized I've been filming this whole thing with our Sports Talk Extra background. That's okay. That's okay. All right. You know we have a second channel. All right. Go to that channel. You hear us talking about how much we love the Lions. We just love talking NFL too. So if you want to subscribe over on that channel, go for it. But here's the thing that I find to be the most interesting. Our defense, on a day that we just kept handing the ball back to the Bucs, kept giving it back, chance after chance after chance, our defense came through. They gave our offense so many opportunities in the fourth quarter. We held Tampa Bay to 0 points in the fourth quarter. It seemed like we kept getting the ball over and over and over again on offense, and we kept failing to convert. Our defense held up so well against a very talented Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. A very talented Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. And that is super encouraging to me. I don't foresee this team struggling on offense that long. And by the way, if you look to last year, even last year when we thought our offense was going to just be phenomenal, it took a few games to really get rolling. All right. Seattle, yes, we played well, had a good offensive outing, but we were sluggish against the Chiefs. We were sluggish against the Falcons. All right. It was a struggle in the passing game even for a little while, but then after those 3 games, the offense opened up. And so I would look for something similar this year. There's a ton of timing in the routes and the route trees and the concepts with what happens in the Ben Johnson offense. You have new players in it. You have Tim Patrick that's playing a bigger role. Khalil Freeman's playing a bigger role, right? Or Tim Patrick's brand new. Jamison Williams all of a sudden is thrust in. Everybody has to get used to that. So there's a lot of people. Sam Laporta didn't really play all preseason, right? And he didn't practice for the most of training camp. These guys are all still trying to get on the same page. I think urgency gets them on the same page for the next couple games against the Cardinals and against the Seahawks. And then I would make the argument that after that urgency that bye week gives us the proper time to really settle in. I don't like early bye weeks, but with the way this team has started the season, I might not hate it. So I think there's encouraging news in all that. Aidan Hutchinson hit the nail on the head. He'd rather be good late than early in the season. He has no worry. And this is only going to continue to motivate this team going forward. All right. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.